All right, guys. Thanks for joining us on the Real Producers Beyond the Pages podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Luccherini, and we have our preferred partner, Justin Rouchleau and Ramona Chapman, co-owners of JR Mortgage Group. We also have Katie Brown here of Reece Nichols, and we're just going to get to know each other a little bit today. So on that note, Justin, Ramona, do you want to start us off and tell us a little bit about yourselves, your business, and why did you invite Katie to be your guest today?
Oh, well, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for inviting us on here. This is super new and exciting. I guess I'd say a little bit about us, and then I'll let Justin take over from there. About us, if you don't know, JR Mortgage Group is a locally owned mortgage brokerage right here in Wichita, Kansas. And what our focus is really giving the ultimate experience to the client, whether that be their customer service and also the best possible terms out there. Really what was seen is a need for something out of the norm. A lot of times you don't really see, you might have a client who doesn't fit in the quote unquote box of financial lending. And so why not have an alternative for them?
Yeah, so we saw a need for that market in March of 2021 is when we opened, and we've been having a good time ever since. We've grown from an operation of just myself in a broom closet to we brought in a couple processors after a couple months, and now we're in operation of we have 12 now.
I think so, yeah.
Like that. So we're having a lot of fun, and
I can tell, yes, on social media, yes. And I remember those days when you were just venturing out on your own, and it's been neat to see that growth.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've had bumps in the road, but it's been absolutely fantastic. Especially since bringing Ramona on, she is a very good yin to the yang. So it's been great bringing her on.
I sense
board.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. So, tell me about your relationship with Katie. Why was Katie your realtor of choice here?
Man, I got a long list of things to say about Katie. No, so Katie and myself met through a networking group called BNI. So I joined a BNI group it was probably about 2-ish years ago, and she had a particular gal that needed some help in a very particular situation, and we were able to take great care of her, and from there we've had a great relationship ever since, and we've worked on tens and tens of clients. I wouldn't say 100, that'd probably be a little too much, but tens and tens of clients.
On your way to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So ever since then we've had a great relationship. I appreciate the professionalism in the entire group. Over there, the Carnahan team is absolutely fantastic, especially Katie. She's the bomb over there.
I know. And I don't know. I met Katie through Justin's BNI when I, might come and sub or anything, but she's always the nicest. And whenever we have a deal together, she promotes me just like she would Justin. So that level of, service and expectation is just so nice. And like Justin said, that comes from their entire team, but Katie, you definitely demonstrate it. And that's why I was like, yes, let's
Thank you.
Yes.
I love that. Yes, that's good. All right. So Miss Katie, tell me a little bit about just a brief overview of your history as a realtor. Anything else you'd like to share?
So I got my real estate license when I was 18 years old. I lived in my parents' basement. That's how I put myself through college. Looking back at it, I think who in the absolute world would buy a house from an 18-year-old? But there I went. So
You know what? You just got to go for it.
I just never talked about how old I was, and we went on with it. It got a little awkward when we would have a closing and a buyer or seller would say, "Hey, let's go have a celebration drink." And I didn't want to say, "Well, I'd love to, but I'm not quite old enough." That would have been awkward. So we would just kind of bypass around that. But I started with Cindy Carnahan with the Carnahan Group in 2006, and I have been with her since. I love it there. I couldn't imagine working anyplace else. And so we have a great team that we work with. And I'm just selling real estate and enjoying time.
Yeah. Well, and you've survived a couple of, ups and downs through the real estate market
and
here.
we may kind of be in one right now.
Right.
When I wake up, I don't know kind of what the market's going to be like, or the interest rates, or the overall emotional climate. I would say
100%.
Yeah, that's a tough one right now. Well, good. That's really tremendous. Getting your license at 18. That's pretty amazing.
Well, what is amazing? There are a lot of lenders in Wichita. I have been in this industry for a while, and I've worked with all of them, and there's some really great ones. and then there's JR Mortgage Group. So it's not, lending is not a one size fits all.
Right.
Absolutely not. And every buyer's situation is different. Every seller's situation is different. And they have background and they have history and they have things that sometimes they're not comfortable sharing, or sometimes they just don't fit in the parameters of traditional financing. So I met Justin, and I had a unique situation that we were looking at different lenders, and we just couldn't make it fit. And we didn't want this transaction to fall apart. It would have been a heartbreak. And fortunately, I did meet Justin, and he was able to put the pieces together. It was a wonderful transaction. Some of my favorite parts of that are the communication that I had with JR Mortgage Group. When we're in the thick of this, and we almost refer to it as a knife fight with some of these, $125,000 first-time home buyers, there's only so many houses for sale. And there's far more buyers than there are homes for sale. So to have a lender that's readily available, if I can call or text Justin, I'm sorry to tell you this, but at 8:00 at night and say, hey, I got a code red here.
Yes.
And he
That's pretty early for
responds
Katie
to me. Sometimes
10 o'clock.
Katie, go to bed.
Occasionally, but the particular closing, the first transaction that I had, that I knew Justin and I would be a perfect match, it was a little bit unique, and the buyer had some personal things happening, and we needed to close this transaction because she couldn't take off work anymore. And you take off work, you don't have employment, you don't have employment,
Deal's
you don't
gone.
You
have
don't get this house.
you don't get this house. So Justin and I, it was the first time in my career, had a 6 a.m. closing.
Wow.
We called it our sunrise closing. I
Wow.
will never forget that. So that is just that's the only lender. I have goosebumps talking about it. To say that JR Mortgage Group goes above and beyond, that doesn't even encompass the feelings. So I hate to say that they're 24/7 because nobody,
23/7. Can we just give me 1 hour?
They'll take shifts.
1 hour,
12 and 12.
fine.
It's
Lightly
okay.
request that.
I mean, if you can kind of say on that 1 hour, we'll flip it, we'll rotate schedules.
Yes.
I'll be
Yeah, they can tag team. That's the beauty.
But that is the beauty of it, is that it's a team. And if Justin decides that he does in fact have to go to sleep, then Ramona's available, or someone from their team is available, and they respond to me. And if I have a question, I call, and I get a human that I have a relationship with. I don't have to go through this automated, who am I going to get?
Yeah, after hour stuff.
I can go to their office and look them in the eyeballs and say, hey, help me here, or, let's high five. We got this done.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy, and we all live to tell about it.
I love that. Wow, a sunrise closing. Well, I was going to ask what was the craziest closing. I think you might have nailed it, but we could still come back to that. Okay, so Justin, Ramona, tell me what a typical day looks like for you guys. And if you want to tell me about Tuesdays in particular, that'd be fine too.
I guess, I'll kind of get started on that. So our typical day, Justin and I, we kind of have this thing, we always go as hard as we can. We always want the best, and we always want to grow and get better. So we've decided to hold ourselves accountable. We get in the office at 5 a.m. I might take a little longer. It takes me a little longer to get dressed.
It's more like a 5'10" kind of person.
That's okay.
But
The rest of us are asleep, so it's fine.
5 a.m. But between that time, between 5 and 8, that's really where we're getting the stuff that we need to get done. Maybe processing applications we received that night, different things like that. More of our operations between, I'd say that 8 to noonish or something. That's really where we're helping our other loan officers, processors. We're doing those meetings. We're doing appointments. And then we go into the afternoon, and it kind of gets filled up. Like a lot of that time is just where we're offering our knowledge and advice just to get things moving day to day. Does your day look any different up to that time?
No, yeah. I mean, we spend a lot of time working with our loan officers. We have 3 brand new loan officers with a combined 1 year's worth of experience, right? So we're constantly working with them. Hey, how can we help you grow? How can we help you excel in this market? So of course that takes a lot of our time, and that's what we sign up for. We enjoy it. We have fun doing that. So that takes up most of our day, and we usually wrap up. We usually wrap up around 7.
Yeah, yeah. I would say on Tuesdays, though, we have a hard set schedule. So probably by 2:30, I'm hunting on TikTok to see kind of what trends are available and everything.
Love it.
At the same time, our marketing person, she's also doing that. And she's hunting for what's the newest trends on TikToks and how we can apply those. A lot of times, you know, like it might be an idea that we need to completely shift gears to be mortgage related or somewhat related to our industry. We're sending out like a list of TikToks. This is very planned out. Like it's very much, we're going to hit 10 TikToks and this is the topic and here's the thing. Yep. I usually get started first. I usually get started first because Justin might still be on the phone. You know, we're pulling him out of his office.
Quit working for one moment.
Like ready to go.
Time to have fun. It's marketing. Marketing is important. It's how you set yourself apart.
Yes. Then we'd go into our TikToks. We do TikToks from about 3 to 4:30. We've given an allotted break for us to respond back to anything like emergency needed or anything like that. And then starting at about 5, after majority of our office has left, that's when we actually get out. Like we have our setup, we get out our tripods and everything, and then we start filming our professional videos. So along with, we like to have fun, but then we also like to give like educational content and everything too. We wrap that up about 7. And then on TikTok days, I mean, we know it's going to be a late day because then at that point, we're probably in the office till about 9.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow. Well, I'm across the street, so I'll bring you guys some donuts in the morning and some snacks in the evening. That's
always welcome.
That's tremendous.
We're
Okay.
big snack people.
All right, I can do that. So what is the craziest mortgage story that you've dealt with, aside from this amazing
I got a great one.
Yeah,
So
let's
the
hear it.
very first loan I ever closed was a guy buying a house for his mistress. The very first loan
God
I ever
bless
closed.
America.
Oh, it was the best thing.
So
in
who
the
was
world.
at the closing table?
Just him.
Wow.
Him. We had
Wise guy.
We had to do
Maybe
a
not.
purchase money mortgage. He was trying to use funds from his bank account that had his wife on the time on it.
Whoopsie-daisy.
And we were like, nope, can't be using that. So we had to get very creative to make sure that
Where there's a will, there's a way.
I had a very big moral conflict with that.
No kidding.
I did not know ethically. I was like, well, I mean, I can't tell this man to not do this. He's, I think the mistress was pregnant, and that's why he was buying the house.
Oh,
And,
mercy.
he was buying a decent enough house. This was 3 years ago, and he's buying a $160,000-$170,000 house, so it wasn't a little dump.
Right.
You know, it was
Yeah, that was normal back then.
Wowzers.
yeah.
Oh,
that
man.
Was, yeah. So that was my first mortgage. That's probably one of my crazier ones.
Welcome to real estate.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Wow.
Man.
I stuck around.
Okay, you survived.
I would say mine, it's not as crazy. Mine is more happy. Like
Okay, good.
I had clients who were having a baby and they went into labor early, and the title company, Security First, went out and said, I will go to the hospital, and we signed closing documents at the hospital, new baby in arms and everything to make it happen. And then I want to say they kind of told me their family, or I don't know what we did. It was something like we wanted to help, like make sure they moved in, because like you're having a baby now, you can't just, you need to go somewhere. So
Wow. Talk about a celebratory day. One that they
Different
won't forget.
spectrums.
Yeah. But that's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
The baby's involved in both of them.
Yes, good denominator. Katie, what is your craziest closing story?
Well, I make jokes that I do this job for entertainment purposes, and I've spent my life gathering commentary for my book that I'm going to write about the experiences I've had in real
Oh, I
estate.
love this.
So, some of the more appropriate to share with the public stories would be, I had a closing one time, and the buyer, very well qualified, put together buyer. He was so nervous. I thought he needed to breathe into a paper bag. And halfway through the closing, bless his sweet heart, he just needed to pause. And he pushed his chair back, got out of his chair, and laid his body on the floor and proceeded to lay there for about 45 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, at least he
45
knew.
minutes?
Drama.
45 minutes
Was he
on the floor.
Face up or face down?
I mean, it was both.
Oh,
He was
And-
turning over.
And it was
That poor man.
He didn't flail, which is good, but we just had to give him a pause.
He needed some Lamaze breathing techniques.
I mean,
Wow.
I don't know.
What did everyone do?
What do you do?
I don't know. You just get on your phone and you kill time?
I mean,
I would be like texting the like, I don't know what's happening.
There's
Like maybe
only-
we go back outside.
Like, I'm going to go use the restroom 5 times? I don't know.
there's only so many sympathetic sounds that I had to give, and then I was like, we're just going to take a moment. We need a moment to gather ourselves here, and a moment turned into 45 moments, and then we got the deal closed.
Wow.
But
Wow.
Sometimes you just need a breather, and this gentleman did.
What I would say,
good for him for honoring what he needed,
is that a lot of people don't realize how emotional it is to buy a house. Because this is such a big deal. This is something you've thought about so long.
Right.
And they also don't realize how stressful it is or emotional to spend that amount of money. They're like, I saved this money. I can't imagine spending it or whatever he could be doing.
Sure. Yeah. And you guys are desensitized to it. You do it every day. You know, you've got that bias. Wow. That's a good one. Okay. All right. So what is one thing, this is for you, Ramona and Justin, what's one thing that you guys have gotten really good at saying no to? Or is there anything? I know that's a hard one.
We're real bad at that. That's why we're brokers, because we're big yes men and
I was
women.
going to say that's very hard.
We're big yes people over here.
Yes.
What do I say no to? I say no to diets.
Okay. I respect that.
Do your clients ask you to diet?
No.
But if you asked him, Katie, he'd probably say yes.
But I would never.
That's
Okay.
a hard no. That's a hard no for me.
Hard and fast. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I respect that. Ramona?
Hard to say no to. I mean, I feel like I'm never a no. If it's a buyer, I'm just a not
You'll
yet.
find a way.
Yeah, it's just a not yet.
Yep.
Let's figure out why it's a not yet and make it a yes.
Okay. I like that. No, that's perfect. Katie, what about you?
I think in this industry, no is hard. I'm still years into this, still working on no. For me, the line in the sand is when it has to do with ethics. If there's
100%.
if there's something that is unethical, that's when
That's a hard no.
that's the hard no for me. Other than that, it's free game. But when it comes to ethics, that's my line in the sand.
Okay. I like that. All right. All right, Miss Katie. So what is, and I know this is a loaded question, what is one word or a couple of words that you would use to describe our current market today?
Unpredictable.
Fair enough.
That's
You guys
great.
have any descriptive words or word that you're feeling right now?
I would say ever changing.
Yeah. The change is the static.
Cutthroat.
Yeah.
In a lot of different ways, whether it's the buyers with each other, the sellers with the buyers, the
agents,
interest rate market to
yeah.
the buyers. It's cutthroat in a variety of different ways.
Right.
Like I said, it's a knife fight.
Yeah. And knife fights are truly more dangerous than gunfights. So, because you guys are in close quarters.
Death by
They are,
1,000
man.
cuts.
Yeah, you
Just like
run.
feels like the
When there's a
market.
knife fight, you run. That's what you do. Okay, very good. Well, guys, I just want to thank you for coming on and spending a little bit of time with us and just allowing the rest of our Wichita real estate community to get to know you guys a little bit more beyond, what an ad might say or what your social media might say. And Katie, thank you to you just for upholding, just being a consummate professional, you and the entire Carnahan group.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, no, it was a pleasure. So thank you guys. And
Thanks a lot.
Yep, we just hope to see you guys soon. And thank you for everyone for coming.
Yeah, it's a good time. Let's do it again.
Thank you.
Thank you.